Hello, my name is Luke Allen. I'm a third year student in the Occupational Therapy doctoral program at Arkansas State University. I'm presenting a series of videos and presentations designed to help caregivers of people with dementia not only to survive, but thrive. Dementia Difficulties is the title of this series, and I will cover a wide range of topics or issues you could run into while caring for your loved one. This first episode covers eating and many of the challenges involved with it. So for the lesson targets for today's episode, number one, the caregiver should be able to have a basic understanding of why dementia affects eating habits. Number two, the caregiver should learn the do's and don'ts of mealtime with someone with dementia. Number three, the caregiver will have an instructional video to explain helpful adaptive equipment and eating instruction. Although many of you are already aware, dementia has many symptoms that vary from person to person and progress through stages. Throughout these stages, eating difficulties are one of the most common symptoms someone may experience. Because food and nutrition is so impactful on our well-being, it is important that we address the eating issues as they come up while a person with dementia is progressing through the stages. According to Kai 2015, an increase in severity of dementia is correlated with an increase in eating disturbance. So, dementia's impact on eating. Specific symptoms associated with dementia eating include declines in coordination of the hand, memory issues, forgetting meals, and difficulty recognizing food or eating utensils, chewing and swallowing difficulties, loss of appetite, and difficulty concentrating on eating. It may come as a surprise that some of these symptoms do not seem to be related to cognitive decline. Coordination loss, especially, can be very impactful regarding eating and as well as many other aspects of life. Handle an eating utensil, manipulating small objects, or making small hand movements can become difficult and frustrating. Being able to recognize physical symptoms as well as cognitive can help you address these deficits as soon as possible. The act of eating. The process of eating is complicated, although many of us take it for granted. Eating can be broken up into the following stages: the pre-oral phase, the oral phase, the pharyngeal and esophageal phases. Dementia can affect all three stages, but the last two stages are especially affected during late-stage dementia. To expand on the three different stages, the pre-oral phase simply means everything before the food arrives to the person's mouth. Many of the challenges of eating can come from this stage, such as difficulty with utensils, the recognition of food, and distractions in the environment. For the oral phase, it involves the chewing and preparation of the food to be swallowed, and the pharyngeal and esophageal phases. This act of swallowing is the act of swallowing and the food being moved down to digestion. And once again, those two are primarily affected during late stage dementia, although all three are as well. Eating challenges and mild stages. According to Kai 2015, nearly half, 49.5%, of patients with dementia experience appetite changes. In many cases, this involved a loss in weight and has been reported as early as 6 years before diagnosis. This study shows how early dementia can affect eating in a person. It is important to note that appetite changes can be either reduced appetite or can be overeating. While weight loss was much more common in the study, it can be important to watch out for weight gain as well, as the person can forget that they have already eaten and accidentally overconsume food. The diet of the person changes as well. Eating preferences are also reported to change. People with dementia often prefer sugary food, such as candies, in addition to strong flavors, neglecting them of essential nutrients. It can be difficult to stick with a healthier diet, craving sugary foods. However, there are many healthy options that we will cover later that will satisfy that sweet tooth. Eating challenges and moderate dementia. As a person with dementia progresses through stages, many symptoms experienced during the mild stage can become magnified. For example, as stated in the previous slide, if a person was already experiencing a reduction in appetite, as dementia progresses, this can worsen. According to Kai 2015, changes in favorite foods, eating habits, and appetite were the most common in moderate dementia. So, in the moderate stage of dementia, you can usually see an exacerbation of symptoms and that the person is already experiencing. Eating challenges in severe dementia. In late stages of dementia, swallowing disturbances increase in severity. According to Kai 2015, half of the patients with severe dementia developed a swallowing disturbance. During the late stages, this is where the person experiences more difficulties with the oral, pharyngeal, and esophageal phases. In addition, they frequently rely on others to support the activity of eating. Issues that involved include reduced cognition, communication, and motor abilities. Thus, every stage of eating of the eating process is usually affected. It is important to keep in mind that the person with dementia is at risk for their safety while eating. This could be choking, aspiration, or malnutrition. And if you begin to experience those, it is time to consult a geriatrician, neurologist, and consider a skilled nursing facility. We want our loved ones to be as safe as possible, and you can never be too careful. Adaptive equipment. Now that we know the eating process of dementia and how dementia can affect it, we are going to look for some solutions. First is adaptive equipment. Red cutlery is simply using a red plate versus a white. According to Dune, in 2004, found a 25% increase in food and an 84% increase in liquid for high contrast, red versus baseline white. This stark difference is due to the food being much easier to see. Dementia can affect the ability of the brain to perceive, contrast, and keep focused on things. A strong contrast, for example, a red plate and white mashed potatoes, show up very well and can be much easier for the person with dementia to see. Adaptive utensils. As previously mentioned, dementia can affect coordination. Adaptive eating utensils can be a good solution. A bigger handle is much easier to grip and therefore used during the pre-oral phase of eating. Food. Even though it isn't technically an adaptive equipment per se, modifying and keeping an eye on nutrition is important to make sure that the person with dementia remains strong and healthy as possible, so it felt applicable to list here. Water bottle. It is important to keep track of how much water the person with dementia is consuming. Purchasing a water bottle with measurements will allow the caregiver to keep track. Superfoods. Nutritional foods. A healthy diet for someone with dementia is balanced with many healthy foods you already know, foods such as vegetables, fruits, and whole grain products. Make sure to consult with your doctor or nutritionist before adding any vitamins or to discuss a healthy diet. Soft textures and easy to chew foods can be very beneficial in dementia care. In addition, if using a utensil becomes difficult, finger foods may be easier. Hydrating foods. The following foods are great to make sure that your loved one stays hydrated. It can be difficult to drink enough water throughout the day, so using some of these foods are a great way to hydrate without a drink. A lot of these foods are sweet as well. Popsicles, jelly drops, fruit smoothies, and Jello cups are both delicious and hydrating. I will not say every food on the list, but it will be in the PowerPoint for your reference. Dehydration. People with dementia can have a hard time realizing that they are thirsty and often forget to drink. This can lead to headaches, an increase in confusion, and urinary tract infections. Although the food with high liquid content can help, it is important to follow additional tips to make sure your loved ones are properly hydrated. In order to make sure the person with dementia is hydrated, make sure to use the following. Use a bright cup to draw their attention and measure the amount they drink. Much like the plates, having something that sticks out can be a constant visual cue for your loved one. Encourage food with a high liquid content, such as gravy, yogurt, or popsicles. Refer back to the previous list for a great resource in hydrating foods. Make sure they have a drink whenever they are eating. An easy thing to remember is simply to make sure that they always have a drink in sight while eating. Provide verbal or visual reminders if the glass gets ignored. So that could be either pushing it towards them or just letting them know that they have something to drink in front of them. That constant reminder can help. Look out for the following signs of dehydration and consult a healthcare professional such as a primary care physician or nutritionist if you see the following: dry lips / mouth, dizziness / lightheadedness, dark or strong smelling urine, and fewer trips to the bathroom. Longer mealtime. Eating is something many of us have been doing independently for nearly our entire lives without much thought. With dementia, however, the task becomes much more complicated and oftentimes much slower. To compensate for this, simply allowing more mealtime is a great way to make sure the person with dementia is getting adequate nutrition. Bunn, 2016, found accessible snacks and longer mealtime to be one of the most prominent interventions studied. While this sounds very simple, it is a great way to make sure that they stay a healthy weight. With the distractions at the table and losing concentration, it simply takes more time to eat. Music and meals. A really fun and interesting study was done regarding music and increasing food consumption for people with dementia. They found that one way to successfully increase mealtime is to add music with meals. The longer mealtime is beneficial for increasing BMI and nutrition in general. According to Wong, 2008, pop music showed an increase in food intake, while other types of music improved the psychological well-being of those who participated in the survey. Adding music can increase the mood and social engagement. This in turn will make mealtime much more enjoyable, leading to an increased intake of nutrition. Cues and conditioning. One of the goals for caring with someone is to make sure they are able to do as much as they are possibly able to do. This helps them physically and mentally engage while giving them a purpose. If the person with dementia is still physically and mentally able to eat, nonverbal cues such as mimicking eating, eye contact, and clearly labeled foods can all encourage more autonomous eating. Encourage a similar routine to condition for mealtime. If a person needs more help than prompting, use the overhand technique, and the direct hand technique is advised. We will have videos demonstrating this technique. The over-the-hand technique. The overhand technique is best used when the person with dementia has finger coordination and dexterity to handle an eating utensil but is unable to get the food from the plate to their mouth. To perform this technique, you should be on the dominant side of the person and rest your offhand on the person's shoulder. Position your hand over the person's hand as they hold the utensil and guide it to their mouth, and make sure to come from the center of the body. The following slide will have a video demonstration or at the end of the PowerPoint, there will be a video demonstration of the over-the-hand technique. The direct hand technique. This technique is used when the person is bedridden with no functional movement of their arms or requires too much energy to complete the task of eating. This technique is used in the late stages of dementia. More details will be given on the following slides. Okay, eating challenges and severe dementia. So now we are going to cover the direct hand technique. To use the direct hand technique, help the person with dementia to move to a comfortable position on the table. This could require a walker or wheelchair depending on the mobility of the person with dementia. The professional caregiver will sit in a way that the caregiver's hand, the plate, and the face and the mouth of the person with dementia are all in the same visual field. Next, the professional will start the joint eating process by providing a bib napkin or introduce the process of eating verbally. Finally, once the attentional space is established, the caregiver can get into close proximity with the person and begin the feeding process. Always discuss with the professional and be aware of any signs or symptoms of aspiration or choking. If there are any health risks while eating, it is best to consult with a healthcare professional immediately. As always, it is best to be as safe as possible with your loved one. Meals on Wheels. For reference, once you receive this PowerPoint, in the top left portion of the slide, there's a link to the Meals on Wheels website. If you just click the big white icon in the top left, where it will take you directly to the website where you can apply or seek more information. And here on this page, I will just give you a basic rundown of the program and let you know that you have some resources available. So for statistics, Meals on Wheels serves 251 million meals, supporting over 2 million seniors per year. To be eligible, you need to be 60 years of age or older, at risk of being malnourished, and not able to come to the Meals on Wheels Center. And as for how to sign up, use the Meals on Wheels website or enter the zip code to find a program near you. Call or email your local program for eligibility and the application process. Once again, you can click the top left of the PowerPoint. So, to summarize, first point, dementia can cause eating difficulties that vary by stage. During mild stages, the activity is largely independent but progresses to hand-over-hand feeding. Proper hydration and nutrition is key. Make sure to monitor the person with dementia to make sure they are remaining properly nourished. Point 3. Many adaptive strategies such as using music, staying consistent, or adaptive eating utensils can be helpful. Everyone is unique, so find out what works for you. Point 4. It is always a good idea to contact a health professional if you have any questions or concerns about your loved one. And then here are just two really nice quotes that I personally found very endearing regarding this subject matter. So love remembers when memory fades, and a little patience and a lot of love. If you're ever down or feeling unappreciated, I feel like these quotes can be a great pick-me-up and can be a good thing to remember. Caring for somebody that you love is very difficult, but it can be one of the most meaningful things that a person does. And that's all that I have. Thank you for listening. The following 2 pages are just resource pages for the research I did for this video. And thank you again. And this is my grandma. This is Susan Cope, known by Mama. And today we're just going to record a little video about some of the challenges you can have with eating. It's hard to say the stage, but my grandma is in a later stage of a dementia. And just first, to show this off, we have a white plate with mashed potatoes and a red plate. As we've talked about in the PowerPoint, having that high contrast between the white food and the red plate can be a good idea to just make it obvious that there's a food there, and it's much easier for them to perceive and eat. So the first technique we're going to do is the hand-over-hand technique. To do the hand-over-hand technique, what you're going to do is you're going to first make sure that you're in the field of view of your loved one so that they know what's going on. You're going to want to have the plate in line with the person as well, and just make sure that nothing's catching them off guard or in surprise. Everything needs to be in that triangular view that we've seen on the PowerPoint. Yes, and everything's in view. So the first thing you're going to do is just simply guide their hand to the spoon to make sure that they take it.
Yeah.
And then you'll go over their hand. She does a great job holding the spoon. And then just guide it up to their mouth to eat. And that's perfect. So that's how you do the hand over hand technique.